afternoon, everyone, and thanks for joining us on the Pendulum, where we discuss trending national issues on Lagos television. I am Ajibola Ojishola. When you look at recent development in the polity, so many issues are trending, the crisis rocking the PDP, as well as the Anambra gubernatorial election coming up on Saturday, and of course, the 20 local government and 37 local council development areas chairmen are celebrating their 100 days in office. Of course, we all know what transpired before and after the election, where the leadership of the party had to put the candidates who now became the chairman, as well as councillors, on their toes on the need for them to deliver and, of course, impact the people of Lagos State. Before we start our discussion this afternoon, let me inform you that we actually reached out to Mr. Kola Ologbodinyo of the PDP to speak on the crisis rocking the PDP, but as we speak, is yet to get back to us. And of course, we are also monitoring what is happening in Anambra State ahead of the Saturday's gubernatorial election. But our first discussion on the program today will be on APC's approach to grassroots development in Lagos State. And we have joining us on the program this afternoon the executive chairman of Odiolowo Ojuwe Local Council Development Area to speak on what the mandate was from the party leadership on the need for them to deliver on grassroots development when they actually got the ticket of the party. Will also reflect what the journey has been so far in 100 days. But at this moment on the program, we'll take a very quick break to bring you some of the summary of the news in the polity. When we come back, you will be meeting my guest on the program. Do stay with us on LTV. Thank you for staying with us. In case you just joined us, you're watching The Pendulum, where we discuss national issues on Lagos television. I did say earlier that we'll be looking at APC's approach to grassroots development in Lagos State, not also forgetting the crisis rocking the PDP, as well as the gubernatorial election coming up on Saturday in Anambra State. Of course, again, I'm repeating it, we reached out to Mr. Kola Ologbodinyo of the PDP to join us on the program today, but as we speak, is yet to indicate whether he's going to join us or not for us to discuss the crisis rocking the PDP as we speak. But while we are waiting for Mr. Kola Ologbodinyo, we'll quickly look at the APC's approach to grassroots development in Lagos State. And first of all, we have Mr. Sheyi Jakonde, Chairman, Odiolowo Ojuwe Local Council Development Area, joining us on the program at this moment. It's a pleasure to have you.
Thank you for having me.
All right, we had the local government election in Lagos State in July this year, 2025. And prior to that election, we had several fora where the leadership of the party had to engage the chairmanship candidates, the councillorship candidates, on the need for them to keep to the campaign pledge of the ruling party in Lagos State, which is the APC. And all of you are celebrating 100 days in office as we speak. The engagement before you were sworn in with the party leadership, what were the cogent items that were identified for the chairmanship candidate of the party, as well as the councillorship aspirant of the party as well, on the need for them to connect with the people at the grassroots? And how is that propelling you to deliver on those pledges that you made before you were elected?
Thank you once again. Well, yes, you're right. Before the general election, there were a couple of meetings that we had, with the governor especially. I think we met with the governor twice, and the leadership of the APC in Lagos. And of course, there's no other discussion that we had on how, rather than on how we complement the effort of Mr. Governor, and of course, by extension, the direction of progress of the president of the country, in his renewed hope agenda. And that, of course, I want to say that has reflected in all the activities and, the achievements we've seen across Lagos State in all the 20 local government and the 37 LCDs. So that has actually inspired on all of us. We've had to take all of those advice, and of course to make sure that everything that we've campaigned on, pledge, promise to the people, we're gradually putting everything in shape, and for me, I'm particularly impressed, especially with a lot of progress has been achieved across all the councils. Sometimes you come across people to ask questions like, is there a competition that's going on in Lagos? Why is this local government doing this and all that? So you see that there's a lot of activities going on in Lagos so far. And I believe honestly that this bottom-up approach of governance, is quite very, very impactful. This is a level of government that is actually closest to the people, and the people have a direct impact. This all of our activities, you have, that instant feedback from the people. We're able to communicate, of everything, of all of our programs, the infrastructural developments, and everything that we do. So for me, I believe that we've, moved from day one. After being sworn in from the 27th of July. We've hit the ground running on the 28th, and for what we have on ground today in Lagos, I think that is the product of all of those collaborations.
Okay, so before we are specific about how you are all competing with each other, and of course impacting the people in different sectors of the economy, how frank were those discussions that you had with Mr. Governor, as well as the hierarchy of the party prior to the election?
You see, with the vision of the president of a country, who knows and realizes that, the easiest and best way, that we can actually impact the people in terms of governance is bottom up. And that is why...
Because politics is local.
All politics is local. But when it comes to, dividends of the democracy, when it comes to the governance, how do you fulfill? Mr. President is in Abuja. He's doing everything that is possible, in terms of, making sure that, we have progress in all sectors of our economy. But how does that translate to the common man, within those communities? That's the responsibility of all of the council chairmen, to see that those programs, those policies of Mr. President are being felt from the grassroots. And that is where we said, that is a reflection in the allocation of all of the local governments and the council areas, that we've seen, an increase in what is being allocated to local government across the country. So Lagos, for me, is a pace setter. I believe that other states should imbibe the way and manner that, the Lagos Council is being run, especially in the areas of, financial independence. I know you want to go into autonomy, but I think largely Lagos is, enjoying that to a large extent.
So after you were all sworn in, what kind of engagement did you have at the level of Conference 57? Because Conference 57 is like an animal kingdom. What Ikeja generates internally is not what Ikoseji generates, and the kind of allocation that you get is not what Ekpe local government or Eredo LCDA gets from the federal government. So what was the kind of discussion that you have at the level of Conference 57 for you to complement the effort of Mr. President as well as Mr. Governor and the party at large?
So basically, Conference 57 is just an association of all of the council chairmen in Lagos State. And that is where the name Conference 57, actually derives from. So, and of course, all the local governments are not the same. Allocations are based on certain factors, size of the local government, population, and all of that. So, and of course, that also justifies what is expected in terms of deliverables from each of the local governments. They can also not be equal. What is expected in certain local governments is definitely not the same in other local governments. But what is important, right, is how we're able to move forward together, positively, especially in Lagos State, where we have to be able to align with the team agenda of Mr. Governor. So regardless of, the allocation, the allocation distribution among the local governments, what was important is how we're able to establish a synergy, where we move together in the direction of Mr. Governor, so that at the end of the day, we have all of the development in Lagos State all in sync, and what is being implemented, or what the governor's vision is being implemented in all of the 57 council areas.
Okay, in driving this agenda for the 57 local council development areas in Lagos State, were you conscious rather, as a body, 57, Conference 57, that there was a kind of disconnect between the government and the governed before that election, because the turnout was quite poor? So how is that propelling you in a way that you're trying to synergize with the people in such a way that when next we're going to have a local government election in Lagos State, the turnout will far be better than what we had during the July local government election in Lagos State?
So, we had the discussion before, and I said, the turnout, generally, there's voters' apathy when it comes to local government, and that is not peculiar to Lagos. It's across the states. There's this general belief, that the people do not actually take the local government elections very seriously, unlike the state elections, House of Assembly, and the federal elections. So it's just a norm, But of course, what we are doing, in this sector, in this area of Conference 57 at this level, is to be intentional about it. We're consciously sensitizing the people on the need, for them to actually, see the local government as its own, as the most important arm of government, where they need to align with. And it's also very important that they should be aware, they should be conscious of who actually administers, each of those local governments. Because we realize that most of, the generality of a lot of people do not even know who the local government chairman is.
Or their councillors.
That councillor is even, that's an aberration. They can't even, you can't, some people don't even know who a councillor is or what he represents. So talk less of a local government chairman. So we have been out there, consciously trying to, intentionally, telling the people how important it is, and we've been getting, reasonable results, most especially with the ongoing voters registration.
Okay.
Where we're able to sensitize people, on the need for them to actually make sure that they take the opportunity to either have their card replaced, or for those people that have actually that just attained the age of 18, for them to obtain their voters card, the continuous voters registration number, and then get captured for the PVs.
Okay, so for me, we get different kind of questions from people at the grassroots level all the time. I knew that there were factions, there were disagreements before the local government election, and as we speak, we are yet to have supervisors, secretary to local government, and LCDAs in Lagos State. What exactly is happening? People are getting worried as to why we have not been able to harmonize those factions that we had before and after the election in a way that the proper hierarchy of the local government would have been in place. What is the party leadership doing in this direction?
Well, I don't think it's anything that's out of order or out of place. The local government provides provisions for supervisors and SRG. However, with the tradition of Lagos, where we've always tried to have one government, where we always try to have a synergy across all local councils, and I think that is what is also playing out, where the party leadership will meet with our local government chairman just to ensure that, just like what you said, during the election, there were different kind of issues and all of that. So the purpose is just to ensure that all of the parties or the stakeholders, are definitely involved in the process of selection of who and who, will probably be on board in trying to run the government together. So it's just a process that I'm sure that in a few days or weeks, should be actually resolved. And don't forget that we're trying to do all of this, simultaneously across all the 57. So we might have some areas that are really settled and some, that are trying to find their feet and, put things together. So absolutely.
Okay,
but
so
ultimately, it's going to, but that's really, it's not actually slowing down any process
of governance.
Yes.
Okay, so as we speak today, all of you are celebrating your 100 days in office, and I would just like to know what are the major pointers for you in terms of administration and different sectors of the economy at the Conference 57, which is what is actually driving the growth of local government in Lagos State, now that we are all celebrating 100 days in office. So what has been the discussion at the level of that Conference 57 for you to really impact people at the grassroots and, of course, make them feel the renewed hope agenda of Mr. President?
So just like I said earlier, at the level of conference, we've had series of collaborations, we've had meetings together.
Is there a duplication across board?
Duplication
in terms of intervention projects?
Well, I don't know how you classify as duplication, but what I would say that is standard across board is, there's been progressive governance, across board, and I think that is standard. And I think for every local government or local council development area, there've been we've been a lot of projects and programs that have been implemented in all of the local government and local councils in Lagos State. Of course, and this is a result of the collaboration and the synergy, within all of the local government council chairmen. So it's not really a competition. It's actually, it's purpose driven. It's actually the need for us to complement what is being done from
federal,
state, and coming to the local government.
So there's a master plan, or there's an agenda of the party which is propelling all of you to follow in that direction.
So there's a master plan, but for all of the local governments, everybody has their own agenda. Everybody has their own personal master plan. But at the end of the day, all of these are also tailored to the same result, to the same goal. For instance, we are working on an AY agenda, where we cut across all of our programs and policies, focus across the AY agenda. You can understand that Mr. Governor's agenda is a team's agenda.
Yeah.
So the fact that we have AY agenda, this agenda is also tailored, to align positively or progressively with the team's agenda.
Okay.
But what we try to do is to domesticate. We have all local governments and local council development areas has their own different peculiarities. So you must see how you address, the issues that border around your own
and the needs of the
local,
people.
and the needs of the people within your own space.
But
ultimately, the end result is to deliver good governance, ensure that the people, have good motoring experience with infrastructure, ensure that the healthcare system, is functional and operational within that system, and of course they are affordable, and make sure that the youth within those environments, are empowered, have their energy diverted positively towards, some form of engagement.
Okay, lately I've observed that virtually all of you are engaging your people for the 2026 budget. You are doing spelling bee, you are doing medical outreach, and quite a number of other interventions here and there at the grassroots level. And for me, it seems like everything is uniform, and of course, everybody is facing the same direction, all in a bid to impress the people who actually give them their vote for them to be elected as chairman and councillors in Lagos State?
So thank you. Once again, we're talking about development, right? And development can either be good or bad. You know, the how and the method that you apply it might be different, but the end result is for us to have good governance, right? And there's only one, there's the standard template to that. You know, how you innovate, and I'm sure when you go across all local government and local council government areas, and all of the programs that look the same, I'm sure that you will see that they have been implemented, you know, in different ways. And that is the beauty of the local government system, because those things are designed, you know, considering the peculiarities and the demand and the needs of people within those local governments. You know, these are, you know, when you look at education, just like when you look at the spelling bee, which we have said, when you look at the back to school program, where a couple of local government councils have actually done the same, you know, you see that there are different ways and methods that those programs are actually delivered.
All right, so you are wearing a very big shoe, which is larger than you are. Your father was a former governor, civilian governor of the state, and people they expect so much from you. And of course, you were a former vice chairman. So let's bring everything down to your LCDA level now. Your experience over the years as the vice chairman of the council for 2 terms, how is it assisting you in delivering on the mandate of the party and, of course, living up to the name of your family?
So thank you. It's a big show, like you rightly said, but you know.
It's an oversize for you.
If you say so.
Because you cannot compare somebody who was the governor to somebody who is now chairman today.
So I always tell people, if you wear an...
but you're a governor at the grassroots.
Absolutely. You know, if you wear an oversized shoe, make sure you move with it. You keep moving. You know, don't get stuck and say because you wear an oversized shoe, you're going to be stuck at one point or at one place. So with the oversized shoe, I keep moving the steps, keep taking the step for it to fit in. You know, you keep moving and we keep moving. And to the glory of God, you know, my experience as a vice chairman for 2 terms, my background from my family background, you know, and of course the knowledge and experience I've gathered with my late dad, you know, it's kind of was extremely helpful, you know, for the position I do occupy now, you know, and that is why from the 27th of July, we got sworn in on 27th of July, and from 28th, which was on a Monday, I think 2 dates, you know, it's been one thing or the other. It's been tailored towards, you know, it's been a progressive journey. We've been taking it from one aspect of development and the other. The first thing we did was to have, you know, engage with the security personnel. Likely you agree with me that the first for any environment, and especially when there is a change in power and all of that, the first thing you need to do is to ensure that the security of lives and property, which is also, of course, one of our pioneer objectives as an executive chairman. So we had that meeting, and in that meeting, there were a lot of decisions that were made, especially on a particular area where we've had, you know, I have a pre-knowledge of the crime scene going around in that place. So what I did was to take an immediate, decision to form a joint task force committee between all the police divisions and all of that to combat, you know, that particular area on a 24-hour surveillance. You know, we're able to achieve that in 72 hours. You know, we further strengthened that, that decision by, you know, lighting up the whole of that environment with solar lights, you know, increasing that with the CCTV cameras and all of that. And this is on the Ogumokun flyover bridge, You know, while doing that, we also, saw the need, to start to prepare for students, that are going back to school. Where we also initiated the Summer Tech ICT training, where we graduated.
Boot camp.
Yeah, the boot camp, where we graduated about 600 students, in various ICTs, and I think the top winners were given, free laptops, So it was also a record that we initiated the one-day chairman, which was part of our campaign policy. So it's a way of mentorship. It's a way to inspire the young ones to see the need, to see that there's a reward for hard work. There's the seat of the chairman or any position they can actually get to, is actually possible. So picking one of them as a one-day chairman for him to run, he ran one of the activities. As a matter of fact, he sat as a chairman at the summer boot camp, with his other colleagues and all of that. So it was quite inspiring. And of course, we have also engaged with the traditional people, the Obas, the Bales, you understand, to sensitize all of that. We did a lot of engagements with the people, going from one part of the community to the other, to ensure, to get instant feedback from people, trying to sell our agenda to them, letting them know what, this government is all about. And by the time the school was going to resume, we launched our back to school program, which we did in a very different, which is did differently from the traditional way. What we did was it was tagged back to school, back to pocket, right? The second phase can only be achieved if we launch it way before school resumes. So which we did, we did it a week before, by getting those parents, getting some of the students commissioned to launch it, give out all of these items, and sensitize all of the other schools, not for the kids not to bother to bring their bags, or the parents not to buy any school materials for all of these kids. So on the first day of school, we set up a committee to distribute all of these bags, bags, all educational materials, basically everything they will need.
Which was what was done in other council areas of Lagos State. So it's like there's a master plan coming from the party for everybody to support parents and, of course, ensure that we improve the quality of education that we have in public primary schools, which is under the purview of local government and local council development in Lagos State. At this moment on the program, we'll be taking a very short break. When we come back, we'll be listening to Mr. Governor during the swearing-in of the 57 chairman, actually, of Lagos State on the need for them to be up and doing, and of course, complement the efforts of the Lagos State government in line with the Themes Plus agenda of Mr. Governor.
You are now custodian of a great trust. The people have placed in your hand not just votes, but their dreams. Their expectations are clear. They want better roads. They want safer streets. They want functional healthcare facility. They want thriving primary schools. They want modern, affordable markets. They want environmental sanitation that is impeccable. They want youth engagement. They want inclusive governance. They want community security. More importantly, you've also been given administrative autonomy. And so you have no excuse. No finger pointing. The buck now stops with you. Use this autonomy wisely. Guard it with transparency. Let your tenure reflect not political entitlements, but public responsibility. Never forget that you are in the office. You are not rulers. You are stewards. Be visible. Be accessible. Not now. My chair, mi ò lè rí mọ́. My chair, phone yìí ò ṣiṣẹ́. My chair, àti ẹ̀rí wọn bá sọ̀rọ̀ mọ́. No. You have to be my chair for the people that you have said that you are coming to serve. Be humble. If something goes wrong, take responsibility and fix it. Hit the ground with an understanding of what people truly, really want. Make sure that you gather enough information, about the expectations, real expectations of your people.
All right, frank talk coming from Governor Babajide Olusola Sanwo-Olu during the swearing-in of the 57th chairman in Lagos State. Now they've spent 100 days in office, and people are beginning to assess them, and of course, indeed, trying to know if they are living up to that mandate given to them by Mr. Governor. Mr. Governor was quite humorous there, saying that. My chair, we cannot see you again, you cannot do this, you cannot do that. And he mentioned something that was very germane, which is community security. So that will be my next line of question to our guest in the studio with us this afternoon. Is actually speaking broadly on what the 57 council chairmen in Lagos State are doing to improve the quality of governance at the grassroots level. Okay, so I know Mushin, you cannot separate Mushin from Odilowo Ojuwoye. They're like brothers. And Mr. Governor there, while he was speaking just now, did say that community security is very, very, very important. People have this bad impression about Mushin and Akala, just name it. And there's no way you are going to separate Mushin from Odilowo Ojuwoye. In terms of community security, what is your administration doing to complement the effort of the state government and generally community policing, community security at the level of Conference 57?
Okay, so, well, first of all, Mushin, just like any other city, have the good and the bad. And I can say, clearly that since the resumption of office, in both Mushin and Odilowo Ojuwoye, it's been very peaceful. It's been relatively peaceful. The major concerns we had in Odilowo Ojuwoye was addressed from day one, which was the issue we had on the Ogumoko Bridge, where we had a lot of attacks and all of that. So it was addressed from day one with the setup of the Joint Security Task Force on Surveillance, with the introduction of the solar lights, lighting up the whole of the area, and of course, putting up with the CCTV camera. And I know that my colleague in Mushin, Honorable Tuboso, has also addressed the security issue in Mushin. He has built a security post, right in the heart of where we used to have all of these problems, And
Dark sports.
Yes, and it's about to be commissioned, started from the ground and all of that. So, for as far as security is concerned, I think Mushin and Odilowo Ojuwoye, are very safe. The area of Akala, which you just mentioned, I've been in Akala, since we resumed office. At least I will not to exaggerate more than 10 times. I'll sit there on Sunday. We're constructing the road of Akala at the moment. The engineers are on site, connecting Akala to Bariri to Adedoja. The whole of that length of the road. The road construction is going on and the drainage work is going on right there. And the people are cooperating. Okay. So I think it only takes...
it's a work in progress.
Yes, it takes a leader that knows the concerns of the people, that understands the security architecture of that environment, to know how to apply it. So relatively, it's a community that is in progress, that we're doing. Presently we are working on 14 roads within that community. Wow. 3 has been delivered. The one at Adegboyega, Ibadan is in progress. Adelako is delivered. We're working on our football, a 5-a-side football pitch. That was completed 2 days ago. We're working on the healthcare center, construction of a primary healthcare center that's even close, has a close proximity to the Ogumoko Bridge. Considering that the nature of that area, especially when people have to drive on a very high speed within that community.
All right,
That is also
Mr.
important.
Chairman, I want us to look at things broadly now, and my next question will be, I know that Mr. Shesalawa is the chairman of Conference 57, and I think his vice is the chairman of Ifakoja,
The secretary.
secretary. I'm sorry, secretary. So, at your regular engagement, what are the things that are usually on the front burner? And because people seem to have this impression that local governments are getting more money now, but they are doing so little to complement the effort of Mr. Governor as well as that of Mr. President. So, how frank are your discussions at the level of Conference 57 on the need for you to live up to the mandate of the APC? And I also recall that one of the GSC leaders in Lagos State, precisely, Baba Olusi, did say that as a local government chairman or a councillor, you must live within your community. Are the party leaders still on your toes on the need for you to live up to this?
So, what is right is right. And really, my policy is that you really don't need you don't need a iron. When it comes to the administration of, policies that should, ordinarily, basically be on the right side, and people are doing it wrong. I don't see how, when it comes to local governance, how a local government chairman will not, be within his constituency, in the sense that understand the whole of, what goes on within that constituency, knows the community very well.
Do you tell each other that at your meetings?
So you see, our engagement is not always when we meet. We are all on the platform,
Okay.
so we are all connected, on the fingertips. Those fingers are apart. So when we have engagement, maybe we just find time to feel okay once in a while. Let's deliberate on certain things, physical meeting, take a decision and all that. But aside that, we have interactions, online regularly, where we share ideas, where we have discussions and all of that. And I believe that that collaboration, is bringing on a lot of results. It is just very normal for people to, let me even put it this way, it is very standard for people to criticize government. It is just the norm. No matter what you do, people keep telling you
keep
this
demanding for
and that.
more.
Yes, but what my question is always to people, even as government, we expect feedbacks, good and bad. That's because we can't know it all. You need to work on those feedbacks, especially the ones that are not positive, so you can actually address them. So when people want to, I always encourage people, when you want to, engage the government or criticize the government, make it very precise, make it engaging, have
make it
details,
objective.
exactly, have your details, so that these are things that they can address. It's just not appropriate when you just condemn a government generally, without no facts or no figures.
Okay. All right. So as we custom now, this set of chairmen in Lagos State now were elected in July 2025, and of course sworn in not quite long. So what should be the expectations of Lagosians from this new set of chairmen?
So I want to believe, with the progress that has been made so far within these 100 days across boards, if they continue this on this pace, and we are able, which I believe, honestly, that, this is going to be a continuation of a progressive growth across all of the boards. I believe that is something that will actually be useful and helpful for the ruling party, the APC, and I really believe that we just, apart from, I don't think that we've actually been doing bad in terms of development, delivering on dividends of democracy to the people. However, we believe that it's just time for us to sensitize, be intentional about how people, see the need, to actually get a PVC, see the need that on election day they need to be out And we are doing it. In our own local government, what we're doing is to ensure that for people to actually benefit from all of our programs and all of any government policies, they must have, for those that have 18 and above, must have a PVC. And I think that is very important. For PVC, if you make PVC something that is mandatory and compulsory, for me, it is not being political, because a PVC is just your right to vote for any party of your choice. We're not asking you to bring a PVC and ensure that you vote for a particular party. For me, it's just for you to have, it's a form of ID, for you to have and for you to also perform your basic responsibility.
All
so
right.
I think it should be a standard thing for people to actually, for you to even benefit from anybody. You can't be sitting on the fence and then try to get things from the product that we are not part of.
Okay, a very engaging session we have had with the Executive Chairman of Odiolowo Ojuwe Local Council Development Area, Sheyi Jakonde, who has been speaking on APC's approach to grassroots development in Lagos State, and of course what the party is doing, as well as Mr. Governor and other party leaders in Lagos State, to put them on their toes on the need for them to impact the people of Lagos State in the 20 local governments and the 37 local council development areas. And he was, of course, able to give us the breakdown of what they have been able to do at the level of Conference 57 in different sectors of the economy. I did call on the people as well on the need for them to play their part as well, of course, through their levies and rates for the LCDAs and local government to have enough resources, of course, to implement some of their programs and agenda. We must thank you very much for your time on the program this afternoon.
Thank you, brother. Thanks for having me.
All right, that's the Pendulum this week. We thank you for watching. Do remember to join us next Thursday at 3 p.m. for another incisive discussion on the program. I am Ajibola Ojishola. I'll see you then. Thanks for watching, and bye for now.